Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Shall we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to the September 16th meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Madam Clerk.
There are no appointments scheduled for today under resolutions, job and family services bills.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Investments?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Appropriations?
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Transfers?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Advances and repayments?
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Requisitions?
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Travel expenses?
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Bills?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
There are no personal...
That's what I saw.
Commissioners, number 10, instruct clerk to advertise for bids for alterations to Lorain County Courthouse. This notice will be published on September 21st and 28th, and bids to be open on October 5th at 2 p.m. in the Commissioners' Public Hearing Room.
Jim, you want to tell us what we're doing?
This is going to be some of the renovation that's needed in the lower level based upon the recommendations from the architects. It exceeds the bid threshold, which we knew all along, so it's just another step in that process.
Also moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Nay.
Authorize the salary increase of Alan Wack, bailiff for Elyria Municipal Court, effective retroactive to July 25, 2004, at a biweekly rate of $726 to $747.78, which reflects the county's 2/5 share.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Number 12, there's going to be a correction. I kind of left out the account number. I was typing too fast. So I'll read the account number when I... Approve and enter into an agreement with Collins, Gordon, Bostwick, and Architects, Cleveland, Ohio, in the amount of $128,210 plus reimbursable expenses, which not to include exceed $22,000, to perform architectural services for the Lorain County Justice Center, Phase 4, existing courthouse site improvement, and Commerce Court parking lot design. This will be paid from account 40004-0201-491501, Q Construction Justice Center.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Approve and enter an agreement with Cyber Inc., Greenwood Village, Colorado, in the amount of $323,840 for Phase 1 upgrade for 11.0.03 to 11I and travel expenses for the Oracle system. This will be paid from account 00101, this is a correction, 2001-450101, Capital Expenditures Contract Services.
Mr. Cortez?
Commissioners, at this time, I'm asking that this matter be delayed until later in this meeting. I met with the folks from Norris this morning to discuss their proposal and Cyber's proposal. Norris is a local company. that has worked with us before. They're in the process right now of redoing their bid. It's a negotiated process. I believe we'll be able to award this contract locally if you give me a little bit of time this morning. They're downstairs right now doing it. And I would encourage us to support the local company if they can.
This is a bid?
It's a negotiated bid. It's an RFP process. When
How
I say
much,
bid,
how much over were they?
about $52,000.
And once they figured out they weren't going to get it, they came into you this morning and said we can match it, or? that's
We
what-
had some discussions about applications this morning, and
They realized they were going to lose it, didn't they?
I encouraged them to work with us, and I encourage us to work with them as a local firm, so that we can all come away feeling very good about the issue.
You can't just negotiate a bid.
It
Once
wasn't a sealed bid. It's a negotiated process. It's an RFP.
Okay, so we don't have to bid for consultants and,
This is not one that requires a sealed
Right.
bid. This is a negotiated process.
okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
As with most things that we do, I'm very conscious of trying to use local companies when we can, but it has to be cost effective to do so, and they have to be, fairly close to what we can get someplace else. And I had multiple discussions this morning with them, and I believe that they'll be up in a little while. So if I can just wear on the patience of the board for a little bit. I
All right, how do
appreciate
the other departments feel about this? I see some of the department heads here.
it. They're supportive of Norris gaining the business also. I believe they'll be up in a few minutes. They're down working with Mr. Smith right now, and if we could delay discussing this for a few minutes, I would appreciate it.
Okay, if it's all right with the board members, I'd ask the clerk to move on to item number 14.
Number 14, Children and Families Council, instruct the clerk to advertise for requests for proposals for children's art program. This notice will be advertised in the Chronicle Telegram and Morning Journal on September 20th and 27th, and bids to be open at 2 p.m. on October 4th in the Commissioners' Public Hearing Room.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Under Job and Family Services, award various services to be purchased using Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services Child Care Quality Funds for state fiscal year 2005, effective September 16th, 2004 through June 30th, 2005. Authorize the Director of Job and Family to execute on behalf of the Board upon approval of the prosecutor's approval as to form. 1 for Child Care Resource Center, Lorain, Ohio. Continuing Education Training, $6,990. Child Development Associate Training, $16,625. Health and Safety Training, $5,000.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator?
No, I don't see our folks here yet, so I'm not sure if I should get up and dance and delay this or what. I don't have any comments this morning, but again, I'm going to ask that if we have to take even a short delay, that we wait for that information to come up from upstairs.
Can we hear from some of the other departments in the meantime?
I think it would work better if we had, Commissioner, I'm pretty certain what they're going to say, and if the proposal comes up the way I think it's going to be, I think they'll all be pretty satisfied with what we're going to do, so we can just delay for a moment. But if you want to, I mean, it's your prerogative.
So he has no comment.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor?
I have no report this morning.
Commissioners report.
Commissioner Vacy?
I have no report, but when Norris comes up, I'd like to hear from the other departments too.
I have none.
You have none? Old business?
None.
None here.
None.
New business?
None here.
None.
Board correspondence?
I move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Public comment?
Just as a note, under item number 5, under board correspondence, is a notation about the Emergency Management Agency, the number of households and individuals that were served through the program. And it said, considering the EMA portion of our budget for 2004 is approximately $161,000, the taxpayers in Lorain County have received a pretty good return on their investment, 400+%. I thought that was noteworthy. Shirley.
Shirley R. Johnson, Oberlin, Ohio. Since we have some time, I wonder if we could have a clearer explanation by Mr. Cordez of what the difference is between a process, a negotiation process, and a bid, so that one can be negotiated and one cannot be. Thank you.
Put your lawyer's hat on.
Well, it's not really a lawyer's hat. There are certain processes allowed by the Ohio Revised Code. Some issues have to be sealed bid, and the price is what the price is. Everybody rolls up their sleeves, they do their work, they submit a cost, and those things are not negotiable. It's what they bid. Other things, more along the lines of architectural work, some minor engineering work, professional services type work, you do an RFQ or an RFP, and thereafter you enter into negotiations about their proposal and about their cost. The things that are usually allowed to be negotiated are things that are not hard and fast. Everybody knows the difference between a piece of wood and a brick, but when you have an application such as consulting services or applying software or upgrading, there becomes different ways of doing that and different methodologies. So you look at your deliverables and you try to make sure everybody understands the deliverables, and you look at the process they're going to use to get there, and the cost is something that can be negotiated along the way. And that was the process that was ongoing to mature the proposals that were submitted and to make sure that everybody was bidding on the same way of doing that business. And the code clearly defines those things that are RFP, RFQ, where price can be negotiated, and which items are a sealed bid, which you have to take the lowest and best bid straight out with no discussion. Jerry, you may have something you want to add to that, but...
Other than, I think the code section is 307.86. If you all look that up, sure.
Shirley's agreeing with you, Jerry.
David?
David Ashtonhurst, Oberlin, also, as long as we have a little time here. I noticed that the last item of correspondence, which has been waived in the reading, is the receipt of the Lorain County single financial audit, or sort of comprehensive audit, and I appreciate that that's been received. I know that we've had the People's annual financial report for the year 2003 for several weeks now, and that didn't, as it often does, appear on the Commissioner's correspondence. I know you've received it, but I also understand that if it isn't received in the way things are received with a kind of notice, that it doesn't end up on the correspondence list. So it's partly that sequentially I think the single audit really precedes the People's annual financial report. But now that we have both of them out there, I've said in the past that at some point, if the commissioners would benefit us, would be so kind to have a kind of an information session at some point, to have an item on their agenda at some meeting before the budget for next year comes up, and starts working through that kind of process that says, okay, we have a tax budget, we have this budget. I remember when one budget came up a couple of months ago, Commissioner Moore said, well, are we negotiating these now, or are we negotiating them at a future time? And just sort of the interaction between reports on financial position and transactions for the prior year, where we are in the current year, and where you're projecting things to be next year. As I say, I appreciate that all these things are being received and attended to, but this particular one, from the public's perspective, I suppose, is a pretty opaque process, and it's still very interesting. And as I say, just not to let that run past with that you've received the audit. How are we doing as far as the states, as not just how our county auditor says we're doing as a whole, and if at some point you would just have that as an information item, as I say, I know I'd appreciate it, and I think some others would. Thank you very much.
Jim?
Thank you, David.
So I'll hold this till next week,
What?
number 13.
Absolutely not.
Hold it till next week, or?
Why would you want to hold it? We can listen to them.
Okay.
They're here now.
Oh,
You didn't see them make the grand entrance?
oh, I saw it.
Where are they coming from? There's $20,000 travel?
That's the Oracle stuff.
That's when
That's the Oracle stuff. I don't know where they're coming from Colorado. It's Greenwood, Colorado.
I thought Jim said they were, this is cyber?
That's cyber. I don't have anything for numbers. That's
And they
what's
were-
on the agenda. That
They were,
one.
they were $50,000 cheaper coming from Colorado.
Yeah, and they're charging $20,000 just for
Yeah.
travel.
Right. So now they're matching that price of the Colorado people. So now we want to do a last minute discussion and switching the agenda to another company.
Has the department head seen this information and had a chance to compare?
Well, here they are. Here they sent the signed letter like
Yeah,
this.
that's from
That
Mark's
board.
office. Mr. Nabokowski, have you seen the information?
Mrs. Vacy, why don't we allow our department head the courtesy of presenting this information to us?
Well, I think he should present it to all the department heads too, to share it
Well,
with them
they're
so they
here,
can...
and then they can hear information as well.
Well, look, oh well. We've been working on this for a year. Ernie makes a recommendation in February 17th. Ernie then asked for an update in May going, what are we going to do? And now at the last minute, we get a last minute change to switch companies because they got the best bid. And now at the last minute, we're being thrown stuff to discuss.
Right.
So I'm saying one more week ain't going to kill us unless you guys want to do it right now. So it's up to you guys.
I'd like to
If you want to hear from everybody, I don't have a problem
wait on the
hearing.
week and then share the information with the other department heads, and I'd like to hear from them.
Do you want to hear from them today, or you want to wait till next week and have it?
Mary Jo,
Well,
this
I'd wait
is
till
exactly
next
what,
week so that they have a chance to review this too.
this
Okay.
is exactly what these departments have asked for, 100%.
Let me see the letter
Ernie,
again.
is
I
this-
left
is
mine
that
in the
not a
office.
true statement?
Which one?
That one from the department.
This one here.
Do you guys need copies? 'Cause I have nothing.
No, I left mine in the office.
That's the one comparing the two.
So they're recommending ours.
Yeah, right. Even at $50,000 more, when they realized they were going to get it, it switched over, and they didn't match the price. So.
Okay, what's the price change? What was the difference?
That's 50.
I mean, what did they finally come down to?
The one we got right now is still $50,000 more that you just handed us.
No, it's 50,000, it's 337,500.
Okay, so it's 14,000 more. Okay. Sorry.
Ernie, you want to,
Where do you see price on here?
Huh?
Where do you see price on here?
It's this one right there.
What we came down to is we had two vendors that we interviewed several vendors, and we came down to two vendors that want to be implementation partners with our Oracle upgrade. We interviewed several vendors, you hear me now? Speaking.
We got lots of empty seats in the front row, everybody. It's like school, everyone's in the back.
We went through the process of interviewing several vendors who wanted to be implementation partners in our Oracle upgrade. We narrowed that down to 2, and we went back and forth with several revisions of the proposals, and we came down to we still had a significant price difference in the 2 vendors. This morning, within the last hour, a vendor that is a local vendor has met the lower price, or brought them within the local vendor allowance of 3%. The ink is still wet on this latest proposal. Looking at it, I'm comfortable with what I see, with the exception of one thing. I don't see something directly tying it to the listed deliverables, which in our hurriedness in the last hour to get this out could be it. But I don't see that spelled out in here directly. And
Well, what's 1 week going to do? Is it going to destroy the system? Is it going to crash the system?
it's been going on for a long time now.
I know. Okay, I'm just asking.
I don't see 1 week hurting anything per se, but like I say, the ink is still wet on this thing. I have read through it, but I haven't. And I did work with them when they were modifying it, or was in the room and discussing it with them. But the one thing that I would point out that I don't see a direct reference to the listed deliverables, which I feel is critical, because that's what it came down to, is the vendors were,
This is a local company?
yes.
Okay, what is their travel expense? Because here's one from out of state, and their travel budget is $20,000, so this company, if it's local, should reduce that
They don't have any travel.
tremendously.
They don't have travel expenses associated with their proposal. The other vendor has $50,000 of travel expenses and still had a lower price.
Well, this one here I'm looking at says travel budget $20,000.
Well, look, I'd like to keep our local dollars here, but the fact that the ink's still wet up here, I'm getting, marks here. You're not comfortable with the deliverables? This is what happens. I mean, we've been waiting a year to do
Commissioners.
something, and all of a sudden, in less than 60 minutes, we get documents sitting up here while we're doing our meeting to say make a decision. I'm not willing to make a decision today on this. So 1 week isn't going to hurt. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Nabokowski, did you have a comment?
President, members, Commission, I'm here as an interested party, obviously wants to see this thing settled, not as a partisan. And I really think you ought to take a week. And I wish that it had been done 9 months ago, but it hasn't been done. Another week isn't going to kill us. So we can sort this thing out and get everybody on the same page.
Right.
And then
Right.
please go ahead and get it done.
Thank you.
We-
Ernie, did you have anything further you wanted to say?
Unless you had questions, Commissioner.
You have
Well,
questions,
well-
Director Bernie?
Probably will when we go over the
That's right.
information.
Okay, thanks.
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.